Hello, everybody, and welcome back to this episode of the Better World Challenge podcast. I am thrilled to bring you today's guest, Braeden Mayrisch, Director of Social Impact at Voya Financial Services. In our conversation today, we talk about the power of education, the necessity of equity in education, and how you can make a difference in the social impact sector going ahead in your life. Let's get after it and dive in. Hi, I'm Justin Furtado, a social entrepreneur with a passion and experience in community engagement and philanthropy located in Eugene, Oregon. It's our responsibility to take care of our communities, have uplifting conversations, and make the world a better place. You're listening to the Better World Challenge podcast. Hello and welcome to the Better World Challenge podcast, Braeden. It's great to have you on. My first question for all my guests is, what inspires/motivates you when you wake up and get out of bed in the morning?
I think providing for my family is a big one. Providing for my husband, my cats, I think that's a big one. Is just sort of being able to enjoy my kind of family life. I'm really good at separating my work life, my 9 to 5, Monday through Friday, from my personal life. So I know very much that my professional career is important to me, and I'm able to serve the community with it. But it's just sort of a means to also provide for my family and enjoy our private life together. So I think that's a big one. Also, something I didn't know that I had such a passion for when I started my current job was supporting teachers. I had sort of immense fears of public speaking growing up, still kind of do. And I wasn't the best student. I was a pretty difficult kid. And through Voya, they've been supporting teachers since about 1996. And so I got exposed to the whole philanthropic aspect of the education space, and was able to work on things like National Teacher of the Year and hear so many teacher stories besides just the teachers that I had grown up with. And I realized that it's an extremely valuable profession to have, and they're the most supportive people on the planet. And I could walk up at an event that we go to and speak in front of teachers and just completely bomb my speech, but they're so supportive that that fear of public speaking completely dissipates and goes away, because their entire career is being supportive, encouraging failure, encouraging learning, things like that. So through that, I sort of fell into the world of supporting teachers on the back end. And since then, it's kind of become a passion project, because you've gotten to meet so many amazing people and learn the kind of character and perseverance that career requires. So it's been pretty eye-opening. And I think that's definitely the favorite part of my job, the reason I'm so excited to get up 9 to 5.
That's wonderful. I really love that. And I actually am a first and second grade after school teacher at the Boys and Girls Club. So I have an appreciation for what teachers do, because I just get to be the fun guy. But I feel like there's so much that goes into like the preparation and the academic and trying to get kids to learn and get out of their comfort zone, but have a safe space to like fail and learn. So that's really wonderful. And I'm wondering, like, on your journey, was there like a teacher or someone that planted like this seed in your mind for appreciation of education?
Sadly, I don't think I came to appreciate it enough as a child. It felt like school was always kind of just the means to an end, the means to kind of start your independent life. Looking back, though, since I started working with teachers professionally, if there's one teacher who it's so hard to pick favorite. We work with National Teacher of the Year. So every year we see the 56 best teachers in the country. So it's really difficult to pick just one. But I would probably say this woman named Shanna Peoples, who I think was the National Teacher of the Year that I grew closest to as I got more and more involved in the program. And she was a teacher in Amarillo, Texas, which is a relatively smaller population, I guess not by Texas standards, about 200,000 people. But, southern Texas, more rural, conservative city. And Shanna Peoples is a lesbian. And I remember being at her induction, and she said the first thought to go through her mind when she was named National Teacher of the Year was, at least they can't fire me. And I was almost not just starting out in my professional career, but I was still relatively early, and I had grown up in California and gone to school in Oregon, and had completely blanked on the fact that in so many states it was still legal to fire people for being gay, even if you were a government employee. So that was really eye-opening, and also she was able to say it so eloquently because her first career wasn't a teacher; she was a journalist originally. So sort of her poise and being able to articulate this, that what for me would have been a trauma, and for her it was opportunity. I think that was really what sort of kicked it into high gear about how amazing teachers are. And yeah, I still talk to Shannon all the time. She's coming to Voya virtually, of course, to speak with us this week. So I would say that was really what kind of kicked it off. Before, it was me being put on programs that work with educators, and then once I got to meet her and a few others, then I thought to myself, "Wow, this isn't just a job."
Yeah, that's incredible. You kind of get to learn from, other teachers that are doing the work and going through some of these difficult challenges. And, I want to kind of go back and flash back almost. I heard you talking earlier about this, trying to make a difference in community, and you were a planning, public policy, and management major. Can you talk about your journey to getting to where you are as the director of social impact at Voya Financial?
Yeah, so all through college, I thought, or not all through college, but most of the latter years of college, I thought that I wanted to do environmental sustainability. And I knew you needed a graduate degree for that. And I also finished college at the tail end of the recession, so there were no jobs. So the next step was logically graduate school. Knew I wanted to be in New York, so moved to New York and started out working for the state assembly for doing community affairs work and environmental legislation for a state assembly member in the East Village in Manhattan. And then worked for a clean tech company that was sort of becoming like the Groupon of the clean tech world. They would incentivize folks for recycling more versus throwing more things away, and you get points for that, and you'd be able to redeem those points for discounts and free products and services and things at local vendors. And then my position changed to sales, and I'm not a salesperson. That's not where my skill sets lie. So at that point, though, in graduate school, I was being exposed to the whole social aspect of sustainability and philanthropy, and thought that could be a really awesome and fulfilling job, and be able to meld my sort of passion for the nonprofit world and government with the private sector. So I took a step back and took an internship with Voya Financial. We were ING US at the time, and it was just supposed to be a summer gig, sort of a crash course. My background was not in financial services. I was not the most financially literate person at that time either. And I accepted the summer gig and kind of refused to leave the internship at the end, and stayed on and came to respect the company and was having a lot of fun and work my way up. And now I do sort of have a passion for financial wellness, and I run a lot of financial literacy programs, and then I get the teacher aspect too. So it really did grow on me, and the culture there is great as well. So I'm still there.
That's wonderful. Can you talk about the importance of financial literacy, especially in this, I think one of your big things is you have a passion for equity and inclusion and probably closing financial literacy gaps. Can you talk about how Voya Financial and yourself are working to close that, and why you're so passionate about it?
Yeah, we sort of take a multi-pronged approach towards achieving financial wellness, achieving financial security. From a philanthropic perspective, we know that it's not just about teaching folks to manage their money. You have to also teach them things like career skills to be ready for the 21st century workforce. So for that reason, we teach kids about science, technology, engineering, and math education. And it's not just about, entering the private sector, working for a big tech company, anything like that. Science and STEM, the future of the workforce. STEM is going to be everywhere. We run STEM programs for kids that have taught STEM skills in the kitchen for chefs, to teach them how to innovate in the kitchen. So it's just to be competitive in almost any career going forward, you're going to need to have this foundation to be able to achieve a more stable lifelong income, be competitive in the workforce. You're going to need that foundation. So we teach kids about STEM when they're in grades K through 8, because that's the time when our research has shown us that if you want a kid to be interested in STEM for life, to pursue those degrees and careers, you teach them in grades K through 8, get them out of the classroom, let them get their hands dirty with those concepts. And then we teach kids financial literacy skills, and we focus there on grades 9 through 12, particularly because working with nonprofits, the majority of your beneficiaries are low-income students. When they graduate high school, there's no parental safety net. They enter the workforce or they go off to college, and they're financially independent. They have to figure out things like, should I open a credit card? How should I manage my student loans? Things like that. And our research also told us that if you want them to navigate those sort of milestones correctly or incorrectly, you teach kids when they're on the cusp of financial independence. So that's why we work with high school students for financial literacy, and we teach them about the sort of decisions in their lives that have the highest likelihood of impacting their ability to achieve a secure retirement if they navigate them incorrectly or correctly. And those are student debt, credit, home ownership, financial products and services, and family financial planning. That's where we focus the majority of our work. And just sort of inherently, Voya Financial has been doing this for so long just because it was the right thing to do. We had a great workforce. We had buy-in from our executives they're great people, and they knew that it was the right thing to do. Now, of course, everyone wants you to talk more about why you do these things. So it's been sort of a learning process for us to learn how to showcase these efforts more, because clients are asking about it. The public wants to know. They want to know you're not just paying lip service to these causes, that you've been doing them for a while. So now, we're measuring and we're aggregating our data. And we know that for the last probably at least 3 or 4 years, we've had about 60 to 70% people of color in our programs. Since we've been measuring, our programs have had gender parity. They've been about a 50-50 ratio male to female. So again, we've been doing it for a long time. Now it's really about talking about how our practices in the community are equitable. So it's an interesting time to be involved in this work. It's no longer just the right thing to do. It's that you have to do it. People are demanding it, which is awesome. So, yeah.
That's wonderful. So I'm hearing this word equitable work, and I'm curious, what exactly is the definition of equitable work for yourself and for Voya Financial?
So for Voya Financial, we focus our work on equity on 3 different pieces: colleagues, clients, and community. For the colleagues piece, it's for training and developing our existing workforce, providing equal opportunity to employees for things like development opportunities, raises and compensation, of course, promotions. For future employees, making sure that we're recruiting a diverse workforce that mirrors the population demographics of the country, and that we're treating everybody fairly. So that's sort of the colleagues piece. The clients piece is focused on we're sort of leaning in on the idea of financial capability, doing analysis of our client bases to see that we are providing products and services that meet the needs of different communities. So the clients piece is sort of also in a different way focused on equal opportunity, the equal opportunity to achieve a secure financial future, whatever your dreams of that future may look like. And then the community piece is what I do that we've already talked about. For me, I think the equity piece is it's honestly all about education. It really is. It's the door opener, it's the door opener to getting into careers in financial services. It's the door opener to getting into any sort of career that we work on. So equal opportunity to education, that's really how you're able to achieve awesome things, by sort of empowering folks to be able to climb ladders, be able to overcome obstacles, be able to learn about career opportunities.
That's great. And it seems like education and equity are intertwined. So what have you seen that is successful for reaching that equity in education?
I mean, a big portion of it that we know, and it's something we've been trying to work on for a long time, is finding a network of educators. And I want to give you a shout out too, because after school work you're an educator. It's not just classroom 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. teachers. It's finding a workforce of educators that both understands and mirrors the population of the kids that they're working with. So it's a big piece that we've been focused on too, is recruiting more people of color to consider K-12 teaching, both in school and after school. So I think that's a big way to sort of jump that gap, is by finding more teachers of color to consider that. And it's tough too, because the majority of first generation college students tend to be people of color. And when you're a first generation college student, especially, you have things like family pressure, you might be the financial provider for your family. There's so much pressure to sort of go into something that you might view as being more prestigious or more lucrative. And we have to kind of change that mindset, that teaching can be a prestigious career. That's really where you're going to get more folks to consider the teaching profession. You're going to build up a teacher workforce that mirrors the population of the USA, and you're going to make some significant advantages there. So I think that's sort of the first step. And I want to touch on the employment piece too, in terms of building equity, what's a big focus area. So the honest answer with the employment piece, the workforce piece, is that we really don't know. It's financial services is sort of just starting to come to terms with how can we better have a diverse workforce. Voya has had pretty solid numbers on our diversity figures over the past few years, but they're not where they should be. If the population of America is somewhere in the 30 percentile African American, we should be like that as well. So right now, Voya is also undertaking this company-wide task force that's really amazing that has people on our executive committee, chief executives down to, coordinators, people who are new in their career, all joining in on this task force to help plan out how we can make those three pieces, colleagues, clients, and communities, more fair, more equitable going forward to build out a more diverse network of talent at Voya, build out more products and services focused on disenfranchised communities that have for far too long gone ignored by mainstream financial services. And then, of course, to refine our community programs, making sure that we're being impactful, that we're providing both funding and learning opportunities where it's most valuable to build up the communities that we live in and that we serve. So that's sort of where we're at right now.
Yeah, that's definitely really important work that you were all doing. I'm curious, like for those that are listening right now, our target audience is, a younger professional. How can we be in the know of a lot of these, big corporate firms? And I know you can't speak on every different, corporate entity, but like as a consumers, are there ways where we can, put pressure and, keep this responsibility on companies actually fulfilling like diversity requirements?
So I think one thing that's really amazing right now is that so many companies are realizing that if we want to be listed on different sustainability indices that are really important, like S&P and Bloomberg and a few others out there, we need to place a bigger focus on transparency. So yeah, you can 100% go into companies who might be on the Dow Jones Sustainability Index, for example, and they'll have transparent information on their own diversity numbers that you yourself can audit. I wouldn't say it's going to be the most exciting things reading all of those reports, but if you dig in, you'll be able to find that data. So yeah, you absolutely can. And there's the Human Rights Campaign's Equality Index, and there are various organizations out there for there's Disability In, which audits companies' employment of people with special needs and caregivers. So there are all of these sort of nonprofit associations or industry associations that are the certifying body that do the work for you, so that you can see how this company is focused on that, what their numbers are, and what recognition or awards they've been able to achieve. I'd say that's really the easy way. And social media is powerful, and everyone knows that. So it's always something that you can, look into on social media, that you can insist upon on social media. And folks do listen. There are reasons why we have entire teams to monitor social media accounts. And it does get back to us when people are providing open, honest, and respectful feedback. And it's something that we take into account. So there definitely are ways as a consumer to sort of insist upon accountability.
Right. So utilizing social media and some of these other tools that we have to, have some of these corporate entities, take accountability for their actions and what they say they are going to do. And as someone that is now the director of social impact, and you kind of been in this, community engagement, social impact space for, a few years now. And so for those that are interested in going into this space, like, do you have any, Better World tips? Because this is the Better World Challenge podcast for them that are listening right now.
Yeah, 100%. What I tell everybody, jobs in social impact and corporate social responsibility are really few and far between. You might have a company of 10,000 people, and a department like mine might only be 5 people. And everyone sort of wants a piece. There's a lot of folks who are looking to get into our department, and a lot of folks externally who would love to have a job like this too. Understandably, like I said, it's an amazing job. What I think that anyone should look for, though, whether you're pursuing a career in corporate responsibility or not, is still look into that company's corporate social responsibility efforts, see what they're doing. And a big question that you should be asking too is, how can an employee who's not necessarily within that department sort of take ownership, take development to be able to get involved with whatever that company is doing? That's a major piece that you can ask about in your interviews, and regardless of the job that you're interviewing for, and I promise you it'll give you a leg up. And that's really sort of the mark of an amazing and impactful culture who's not really just paying lip service to these community efforts, that they have buy-in, is if they're empowering employees with opportunities to take advantage and to get involved. And that's also a fantastic way to build into these careers. For a long time on our team, the majority of folks on our team were internal hires. they were people who had volunteered with us for a while in different programs and taken development opportunities to run projects for us and lead events. And so they were on our radar. And when we happened to have a rare position open on our team, we had these people on standby. We knew what their skills were, and it was an easy bridge to get them to just transfer over into our department. So you might not be able to find a career in corporate social responsibility right off the bat, but audit the company's efforts that you're interviewing at for whatever job, see if there are opportunities to get involved, and then sort of get in line and hope that you can showcase your skills and be top of mind.
I love that. So yeah, get involved, get to know people, build relationships, and I guess it'll take some time. I'm sure as time goes on and corporate social responsibility it continues to be in the news and for lack of a better word, trendy, I'm sure more jobs will open up. So that's great advice. Thank you, Braeden. And my final question for you is 2021 is a new year. We're hoping to turn the pages, that we're still within a pandemic, but we're trying to focus on optimism for the future. So what does a better world look like for you in 2021?
One of the things that's really awesome about my work is that I actually usually get to go into the programs that we're running. I get to go into schools and see the hard work that my team and I are putting in every day be executed. So I think that's tough to audit via Zoom. So I think that in terms of focusing on how we're building a better world, I can't wait till schools open back up again, of course, and nonprofits open back up again, of course, and we're able to actually see our programs in action once again, rather than just sitting in on a video call, because it's so impactful for us to be able to audit that and to bring our employees into a science museum to see what's happening here. And there is a little bit of a lack of connection with the folks that you work with, and where my job is a very friendly and sociable place. So it'll be nice to be able to be back in an office again, definitely with my colleagues and with everybody at my company to really go all in with what we're doing, especially now that equity is sort of front and center, and we're really running with that.
Right. So there's this element of seeing the action that you all are working towards instead of, virtually. It's a supplement. It's okay, but like really seeing it in person it's like super impactful and like, just fills us up.
Yeah, and especially in the last year with the pandemic, we've stepped it up. We've gone all in. There's been so much work to do with so many American families struggling. So I can't wait until we're allowed out of the house to see all of the work that we've been able to accomplish virtually. I can't wait till we're allowed out of the house to see what it's doing. So yeah.
Love that. Awesome. And so how can people find out more about you or Voya Financial?
You can look me up on LinkedIn. I think that's the best way to find out more about what we're doing. If you're interested in checking out Voya Financial's social impact strategy, you can just go to voyafoundation.com. We have our overarching logic model on what guides us every day. We have information on all of our programs, especially our major 4 or 5 signature programs we have running right now, and a lot of great video content out there too to meet our scholarship recipients, explore some of our largest programs, and see the difference that we're having in the community. I think that's the best way to learn more.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Better World Challenge podcast. I hope you're feeling inspired right now to make a difference in your own community. If you want to find out more about what you can do, check out thebetterworldchallenge.com, and don't forget to leave a like, comment, and subscribe, and leave a review on Apple Podcasts, as it's the best way to share our message. Together, we can bring about real, tangible change.